Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Azarin here and welcome to another soft skills training video. Today, you may notice that the audio is a little bit echoey. This is because I am in a hotel room at the moment in Singapore. I'm here with a friend of mine and we're going to do some touring. My friend is from a city in the south of Taiwan and he is a native Mandarin speaker. So I'm excited to be here in Singapore, first of all, to see a new place that I've never been to. But second of all, I get to speak Mandarin essentially all day with this friend of mine. I've been learning Mandarin for the past 9 years, and every opportunity I get to practice that language, speak that language, improve the level that I already have is something I welcome. Also, you may notice too that if you look at this video quality overall, the video quality is probably lower than it usually is. It's worse than it usually is. This is again because the lighting in this hotel room is a little bit poor. And so I've picked the place in this hotel room that has the best lighting I can find. So at least you can see me as clearly as possible. Now, today I'd like to follow up on one of my previous videos where I talked about things that I do in my interview process. I've hired all sorts of different types of people, from door-to-door marketers to administrative assistants, to window cleaners, to language instructors, to a whole bunch of different types of positions over the years. And no matter which position I've hired for, there are always two things that I've done in every single interview. The first thing I mentioned in the previous video was that red flag meeting. And the second thing that I always do in my interview process is I try to incorporate the job description itself into the interview. If you didn't watch that previous lesson, please go to my YouTube channel. You can scroll through or go to my website, which is just right on the screen here in the bottom corner, azarin.me. You can go to either place, and you can go check out some of the other training videos that I've made. And so today I'd like to continue the conversation about something I do in the interview process. And this is one conversational tool that I use all the time. And this conversational tool is restating what I heard from the applicant back to them. In other words, the applicant says something to me, and I restate, I rephrase, I summarize what the person said to me, and I do it so they can hear it, and we can confirm that we're on the same page. Now, there are a number of different reasons why I believe this is a good practice to do in the interview process. Here are a few examples of when I do this and why I do it. Sometimes, actually all the time, in my interview process, I will be setting expectations for the job during the interview process. So I might talk about responsibilities. I might talk about the fact that they have to work in person, or they have to work online, or they have to work at these hours. Here's the expectations around whatever it is, responsiveness, whatever expectations that I have. I will take throughout my interview process, I will be setting expectations for the position. And when I'm setting expectations, sometimes when I share the expectation, the applicant will reply in a way where I wonder if they actually agreed to the expectation or not. You know, one example of this from about 6 months ago, approximately, I was interviewing someone for a language instructor in my language teaching business, the Calgary Language Nerds. And I told the individual that this position requires, for this position, I require people to have the ability to do online classes, to teach online, but also teach in person. And I told the individual where the in-person classes would be. And the applicant replied by saying the following. The applicant said something to the effect of, "Oh, yeah, that's not a problem. I prefer to work online, but I guess I can work in person too." That was the applicant's sentence. It was something like, "I prefer to work online, but I guess I can work in person as well." So that was a great time for me to restate back to them what I heard them say, because I was wondering if they actually were willing to work in person or not, because they said, I guess I can work in person too. And they combined it with, I would prefer to work online. So I was concerned that after they start working, I wonder if they actually will take in-person classes. So I restated what I heard. I said, oh, okay. So essentially, you prefer to work online, but if I give you in-person classes, you will accept them. And then the applicant said, well, I guess so, but I guess how many in-person classes are there and how many online classes? So by restating it back to the individual, number one, it makes sure we're on the same page. Because sometimes when you restate it back, the applicant will say, well, it's not exactly what I meant. So you might have misheard them, or maybe they didn't articulate themselves clearly. So you heard them correctly, but they didn't say exactly what they're trying to say. So first of all, I just make sure you're on the same page. But second of all, when they hear you say what they said, since they're hearing it for themselves out of your mouth, they might now follow up and they might ask you some further questions. So in my case, I was setting the expectation about working online and in person. And the person said, well, actually, how many in-person classes are there? And so then we had a conversation because it turned out this applicant, yes, might have done some in-person classes, but ultimately wanted to work online. So that's one place where you can use that tool of restating back what the person said to you, right? That's one time where you can use it. When you're unsure, when you're setting expectations throughout the interview process, whatever stage that's in, it's a way to make sure that you truly are on the same page when you suspect, I don't think this person fully agreed to the expectation. Another time I use this tool of restating what the applicant said is to certain questions, usually more open-ended questions that I ask in the interview. So I might ask something relatively general, such as, oh, what interested you about this position? Or why were you interested in working as a language instructor, as a window cleaner, as a whatever it is? And the person will give their answer. I will then restate, in those kinds of general, very open questions, I like to restate back what I heard to make sure we're on the same page. Again, there's two big reasons for this. First one, same as before. I want to make sure I heard them right. I want to make sure what I understood is what they said, first of all. Second of all, when you do that, they might then give you more information. Often when people hear back what they said, what they end up doing is they will end up saying, yeah, that's right. And actually too, what it really is that your company, blah, 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 blah. They actually give you some more information. Does that make sense? And you can restate multiple times, meaning they say something to you, I want to work there for this reason. You restate it. Oh, okay, great. So essentially you want to work here because da 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 da. And they go, yeah, that's right. And then they say, and I actually have a friend who works there too. And he was telling me that you guys have a great, I don't know, a company culture. I'd say, oh, a great company culture. Oh, so it's everything you said before, this, and the company culture too. And the person goes, yeah, because the previous company I worked at, that was something I didn't like it that much. They were very this and that, and it wasn't really my favorite place to work. And I might say, oh, I see. So essentially you're interested in this position because this, and the company culture, you want good company culture, especially because your previous job, it wasn't the best fit for what you were looking for. And the person might go, yeah, that's exactly right. And they might continue that over and over. And so you get a lot more information out of from that individual. And as you know, if you've done a lot of interviews, that information is very important. So you can figure out if the person will be a good fit for the position, if you want to actually have that person working in the role. But also, I said this possibly too much in passing in the previous video. I didn't emphasize it enough, but at least for me, the way I view it is when you're interviewing someone, the purpose of the interview is to actually figure out if, well, one purpose of an interview is to truly make sure that what the applicant is looking for has a high level of congruency with what you're looking for and what you have to offer. What they're looking for and so let's actually say that again. What they're looking for, what you're looking for, and what you have to offer, those have to create like a little triangle. You're looking for a triangle there, right? You want them to connect really, really nicely. What they're looking for, what you're looking for, and what you have to offer. All those three have to fit together really nicely. That's, I believe, be very important. They're not going to work for you very long if what they're looking for doesn't match what you're offering. And it's definitely not going to work very well if what they're looking for, if they don't match exactly what you're looking for. So I'm not a big fan personally of a lot of games in the interview process. what I mean by games is that's the feeling I get. And I could be wrong on this. It's just an impression I have, is that often in interviews, I get the feeling when I hear other people talk about their job interviews that the questions being asked, the whole interview process is something of a game for the employer to somehow suss out if the applicant's the right person, and for the applicant to somehow avoid these difficult questions and give the right answers to the questions and not make themselves look too bad and to look like this. Whereas for me, I'm trying to say, hey, look, I want the applicant to be super comfortable, and I want them to tell me the truth as open as they're willing to be in the interview, to truly tell me the truth as to what they're looking for. And I will tell them to the best of my ability the truth of what I'm looking for, and the truth of what they truly have to be able to do in order for this position to be good for them for the long term, if it's a long-term position, or short-term if it's a short-term position, right? So that we can truly have this nice symbiotic fit between, again, what they're looking for, what you're looking for, because you want them to be good at the job, and so many criteria you have too, what they're looking for, what you're looking for, and what you have to offer, right? There has to be a nice congruency. And so all I'm trying to say is you want to have, really what I'm trying to say is that tool of restating back to them what you heard them say is one incredible tool to actually be able to it's one tool to actually get that nice symbiosis between those three things. Cool, let's wrap that up. Hope you guys found that helpful. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me. Visit my website. It's in the bottom corner of this video here, azarin.me. If you want to hire me, or even if you want even just general advice, I'm always happy to hop on a Zoom call with you just to give you any general advice on your soft skills needs for your business, or perhaps if you're a manager in a company, the company you work at. Always happy to hop on a Zoom call and just chat about it and give you any of my thoughts, be a sounding board for you. So yeah, feel free to check out my website and we can connect about that. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll chat later. Bye-bye. See you.